Wife made false accusations during our divorce and my own family testified against me in court, so I lost custody of my kids and paid huge alimony. Then her new boyfriend came forward with evidence proving she made up everything. 5 years ago, my ex-wife and I went through what I thought would be a fairly normal, cooperative divorce. At the time, I was 37, and she was 36. After 12 years of marriage, we'd just grown apart. It wasn't anyone's fault, really. We both agreed it was time to move on, and we were going to split everything 50-50, including custody of our 2 kids, who were 6 and 4 back then. We even talked about using a mediator to keep things simple and smooth. I thought we were handling things like adults. Honestly, I was pretty proud of how mature we were being. But man, I was so wrong. Things took a turn I never saw coming. Out of nowhere, my ex started making these insane accusations about me. She claimed I'd been financially abusive throughout our marriage, saying I controlled all the money and gave her an allowance. She said I was emotionally abusive and a neglectful father. She even hinted at financial misconduct, like I'd been hiding money or something. None of it was true. Not a word. The reality was, we'd always had joint accounts. I never controlled her spending or limited what she could do with our money. In fact, I encouraged her to handle the finances with me because I thought we were a team. And as for being neglectful or abusive, that just wasn't me. I loved my kids and was always involved in their lives. I'd never heard a single complaint from her about any of this during our marriage. It felt like she was rewriting our entire history to paint me as this horrible person. Then it got worse. She filed court documents accusing me of all sorts of things: being a distant dad, verbally abusing her, controlling her every move. She twisted little moments from our marriage and turned them into something ugly. It was like living in a nightmare where the person you trusted most suddenly became someone you didn't even recognize. What made it even harder was how my family reacted. I thought, at the very least, they'd have my back. They knew me. They'd seen me as a husband and father. Surely, they'd see through the lies, right? Wrong. They sided with her. My own parents and siblings believed her over me. They said stuff like, well, she's always been so great with the kids, and, why would she lie about something so serious? It was like they didn't even care about hearing my side. My sister even went as far as testifying against me in court. She claimed she'd seen me being controlling, which was just insane. I don't know if she actually believed it or just wanted to stay on my ex's good side, but her words were the nail in the coffin. Between her testimony and my ex's accusations, the court ruled heavily in her favor. I lost almost everything. She got full custody of the kids, and I was only allowed supervised visits. Supervised like I was some kind of danger to my own children. On top of that, I had to pay way more in alimony than we'd originally agreed on. The whole thing shattered me. It wasn't just losing my kids or the unfair settlement, it was the betrayal from every side. My ex, my family, the court system. It felt like my whole world had been ripped apart, and there was nothing I could do about it. The aftermath of everything was absolutely brutal. For the next few years, I focused on picking up the pieces of my life while trying to stay strong for my kids. I only got to see them every other weekend, and every goodbye after those visits felt like a fresh wound. It was devastating, but I made a promise to myself I wouldn't give up. I started documenting everything. I kept every email, recorded every interaction, and even dug out old financial records from our entire marriage. I wanted to be prepared in case the truth ever had a chance to come out. At the same time, I started therapy. I needed help dealing with the betrayal, the isolation, and the constant ache of losing not just my marriage, but my family's support, too. Meanwhile, my ex was thriving. She'd played the victim so convincingly that the community rallied around her. Everywhere I went, the grocery store, school drop-offs, community events, I'd feel the judgment. People would stare, whisper, or outright avoid me. Some even had the nerve to confront me, saying things like, "How could you treat her and your kids like that?" It was infuriating, but I kept my mouth shut. Arguing wouldn't help, and I didn't want to cause any more drama that could hurt my kids. To make things worse, she started a blog about surviving an abusive marriage. She wrote about how strong she was for leaving me and how she was rebuilding her life. She painted me as some kind of monster, and people ate it up. She got sympathy, attention, and even praise for being brave. It was maddening, but I forced myself to stay focused. My kids were my anchor. They were the only thing that kept me going. Then, last month, everything changed. My ex started dating this guy she met in her therapy group. At first, I didn't think much of it, but then, out of the blue, he came forward with some shocking information. Turns out, my ex had confided in him about how she'd made up the abuse allegations. She admitted she did it to secure her future and make sure she'd get full custody and financial support. Apparently, when this guy realized she was starting to manipulate him the same way, he decided enough was enough. He came to me with text messages and recorded conversations where she straight up bragged about how she'd played my family. She had been pulling the strings the entire time. She knew my family had a history of being protective, especially after my aunt went through financial abuse years ago, and she used that to her advantage. She told them exactly what they needed to hear to turn against me. Worse, she admitted to coaching our kids to say negative things about me during custody evaluations. When I saw the evidence, I felt a mix of relief and rage. Finally, the truth was out, but at the same time, I couldn't believe how far she'd gone. I immediately sent everything to my lawyer. Now, we're in the process of reopening the divorce settlement. But that's not all. I've also decided to take legal action against my family members. My lawyer believes we have a strong case for defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress, especially against my sister. Her false testimony played a huge role in how badly the divorce turned out for me. As you can imagine, my family is in complete shock. Suddenly, I'm getting tearful apologies left and right. My parents keep saying they were just trying to protect someone they thought was a victim. My brother claims they were manipulated, too, and shouldn't be blamed. My parents are begging me to drop the lawsuit, saying it will destroy the family. But here's the thing, how can I forgive them? Their actions didn't just hurt me. They cost me years with my kids. They destroyed my reputation in our community. They left me to deal with overwhelming emotional trauma, and I've spent thousands on therapy trying to heal. It's not as simple as sorry. Sorry doesn't erase the pain or undo the damage they caused. And now, I have to decide if I can ever truly forgive them or if they even deserve it. For the past 5 years, I've had to rebuild my life from the ground up. It hasn't been easy. My career took a huge hit because of the accusations my ex made. Word spreads fast in a small community, and it's hard to recover your reputation once people believe the worst about you. Jobs I was qualified for didn't call me back, and opportunities I'd worked for disappeared overnight. But the hardest part wasn't my career or the judgmental looks. It was everything I missed with my kids. There were so many moments I should have been there for school plays, birthday parties, first days of school, even just reading them bedtime stories. Those are things you don't get back, no matter how much time passes. The part that hit me the hardest came just recently. My daughter, who's 16 now, sat me down and asked why I didn't fight harder to be in her life. I didn't even know how to respond. I did fight. I fought with everything I had, but the system was stacked against me. Her words crushed me because it felt like, no matter what I'd done, I'd still failed her. And now, my family, yes, the same people who believed my ex's lies and turned their backs on me, says they want reconciliation. They claim they see the error of their ways and want to make things right. But here's the thing, how do I trust them again? What they did wasn't a small mistake or a misunderstanding. These were deliberate choices. They chose to believe her lies without even giving me a chance to explain. They chose to testify against me, knowing it could destroy my life. And it did. Even if I win this legal battle, I know the scars they've left won't ever fully heal. The years I lost with my kids? The damage to my reputation? The nights I cried myself to sleep wondering why my own family betrayed me? You can't just undo that with a few apologies and promises to be better. So now, I'm stuck asking myself, am I going too far by pursuing legal action against them? Or is this the only way to hold them accountable for the pain they caused? Part of me feels like I have every right to seek justice. They were part of the reason my life fell apart, and there should be consequences for that. But another part of me wonders if this is just going to make things worse. Will it give me the closure I'm looking for, or will it just reopen old wounds and create even more pain? I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should listen to the part of me that's angry and hurt, or if I should let it go and try to move on. It's hard to see a path forward when the people who were supposed to stand by you are the ones who helped tear you down. I'd really appreciate any advice or perspective. Update 1. First off, thank you all so much for the overwhelming support. Reading your comments has been a lifeline during a really tough time. Your perspectives and advice have helped me stay grounded and reminded me that I'm not alone in this fight. A lot of you had questions, so I wanted to address them and give an update on what's been happening. Yes, I have full documentation of everything: the financial losses, the emotional toll, and the lies that were used to tear my life apart. The financial impact alone has been staggering. Between lost wages, because I had to leave jobs due to my ruined reputation, therapy bills, the legal fees from the original divorce, and the insane alimony payments, my lawyer estimates the total damages to be around $380,000. That's money I'll never get back. But honestly, the emotional damage has been even worse. I've spent the past 5 years rebuilding my life from scratch, trying to maintain any kind of meaningful relationship with my kids. And let me tell you, It hasn't been easy. My daughter, who's 16 now, recently asked me why I didn't fight harder to be in her life when everything was falling apart. That absolutely broke me. I fought with everything I had, but the system was stacked against me. I did everything I could, but at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. Now, things are finally starting to turn around, and a big part of that is thanks to James, not his real name, the man my ex started dating. He came forward with a sworn affidavit detailing months of conversations with her. He also shared text messages where she openly bragged about how easy it was to turn my family against me. Reading those messages was gut-wrenching. She described me as gullible, saying I'd never fight back because I'd be too focused on protecting the kids. She even laughed about how predictable I was. James told me he decided to come forward because he saw her starting to spin the same kind of lies about him. Apparently, when he questioned her about some suspicious financial transactions, she started accusing him of being controlling. That was the final straw for him. He didn't want her to destroy someone else's life the way she'd destroyed mine. Since the truth came out, my kids have been staying with me more often. They're angry at their mom but also really confused. I've been doing my best to reassure them that they don't have to pick sides. It's been tough, though. My daughter asked me the other day why her mom would say such awful things about me. I didn't know how to answer without making things worse, so I told her that sometimes people make bad choices when they're scared or upset. It wasn't a perfect answer, but it was the best I could do in the moment. My son has been opening up more, too. He told me that when he was younger, he used to feel guilty about enjoying our weekends together because his mom would get upset if he talked about it too much. That absolutely gutted me. No child should have to feel like that. The legal battle is still ongoing. My ex's visitation hasn't been suspended yet, but we have a hearing next week. My lawyer is confident that the new evidence will lead to changes in the custody arrangement. In the meantime, I'm focusing on rebuilding trust with my kids and giving them a sense of stability. As for my family, things are complicated. My sister showed up at my house a few days ago, crying and begging me to drop the lawsuit. She said she could lose her teaching job if this goes public because her school board is very selective about their staff. She kept saying she was manipulated by my ex, just like everyone else. But I reminded her that she looked me in the eye in court and lied under oath. She had a choice, and she chose to betray me. When I brought that up, she accused me of being vindictive. Can you believe that? After everything she did, she's trying to make me the bad guy. My parents are now trying to rally other relatives to pressure me into dropping the case. I've gotten calls and messages from cousins, aunts, uncles, you name it. They all say the same things: family comes first. This isn't what your grandparents would have wanted, or think about how this will look to the community. It's infuriating. None of these people stood by me when I needed them most. None of them questioned the lies my ex was spreading. Now that the truth is out, they're more worried about appearances than accountability. On the flip side, some of my ex's old friends have reached out. A few of them admitted that she would joke about playing the system when she'd had too much to drink. They're now offering to provide statements about what they knew. One woman even apologized, saying she always had doubts about my ex's stories but didn't want to risk their friendship by speaking up. It's frustrating to hear this now, after the damage has been done, but I'm grateful they're finally stepping forward. The support I've received from strangers online has been a huge contrast to the betrayal I've experienced in real life. Your encouragement has reminded me why I'm fighting this fight. Some of you have asked if I'm worried about the emotional toll this will take on my kids. Honestly, I am. But I also believe it's important to show them that standing up for yourself matters. I want them to know that integrity and accountability are worth fighting for, even when it's hard. Update 2, the hearing turned out better than I expected. The judge was visibly upset after hearing James's evidence and reading the sworn statements from my ex's former friends. But the moment that really hit hard was when they played a recording where my ex laughed about how my sister would believe anything because she always wanted to be the family hero. Hearing that in court felt surreal. It was like everything suddenly clicked. My sister's eagerness to take sides and make herself look like the savior finally made sense. At the same time, it deepened the betrayal. The judge didn't hold back. They temporarily reduced my ex's visitation to supervised visits until a full custody evaluation could be done. For the first time in years, it feels like I've actually had a win. When I told my kids about the supervised visits, their reactions were mixed. My daughter seemed relieved, like a weight had been lifted off her shoulders. My son, though, was more hesitant. He's worried about what this means for his relationship with his mom. I'm doing my best to reassure them that none of this is their fault and that all I want is to make sure their lives are happy and stable. It's a tough line to walk, though. I want to be honest with them, but I don't want to poison how they see their mom. She's still their mother, and I want them to have a healthy relationship with her, even if it's supervised for now. Not long after the hearing, my lawyer got an interesting call from my family's attorney. They offered a settlement. The deal includes a public apology, covering my therapy costs, and help with the legal fees for reopening the divorce case. At first, it seemed like a step in the right direction, but there were some serious red flags. The amount they're offering doesn't even come close to the damages we're seeking, and they're insisting on an NDA. Basically, they want me to sweep everything under the rug. That doesn't sit right with me. For years, I've had to live under the weight of lies, being painted as an abuser while they got to play the role of concerned family members. Why should they get to silence the truth now that it's inconvenient for them? I'll admit, I'm torn. Taking the settlement would save me and my kids from more drama and drawn-out court battles. But at the same time, I feel like the truth needs to come out. My sister didn't just hurt me, she's a teacher who has testified in other divorce cases, using her expert opinion to sway decisions about children's lives. How many other families has she influenced with her bias and lack of integrity? Exposing what she did might stop her from hurting someone else in the future. As for my ex, she tried to discredit James by claiming he was just a bitter ex-boyfriend. That blew up in her face when he produced messages from her friends that backed up his story. 3 of her closest friends have now given sworn statements about how she used to brag about playing the system during the divorce. One of them even said she felt uncomfortable at the time but stayed quiet to avoid ruining their friendship. It's validating to see them stepping up now, but it's also frustrating. If they'd spoken out sooner, maybe some of this could have been avoided. Meanwhile, my parents are still trying to mediate, as they call it. They've started showing up at my house unannounced, leaving notes, and even trying to use my kids to pass along messages. It's exhausting. They're so focused on protecting their own image that they can't see the damage they've caused. My dad even had the nerve to tell me I should think about how this is affecting your mother's health. I couldn't believe it. Where was all this concern when I was losing my job, my reputation, and precious time with my kids? On a slightly brighter note, some neighbors have started reaching out now that the truth is coming to light. People who had kept their distance for years are stopping by to apologize or offer support. A few have even dropped off meals or invited me over for coffee. It's bittersweet, to be honest. While I appreciate the kindness, I can't help but wonder how different things might have been if more people had questioned the lies earlier. I've also heard that my ex's social standing is taking a hit. Her friend group is shrinking as more people learn the truth. While I don't take joy in her downfall, I can't deny feeling a small sense of vindication. For years, she played the victim and thrived on sympathy while I was left to clean up the mess. Now, she's finally facing the consequences of her actions. As for my kids, they're adjusting slowly but surely. My daughter has been spending more time with me, helping with dinner and asking for advice on school projects. My son is still a bit reserved, but he's starting to open up. The other day, he asked if we could build a birdhouse together. These little moments remind me why this fight is worth it. My kids deserve to see what a stable, loving home looks like, and I'm determined to give them that. I'm still on the fence about the settlement. On one hand, it would bring quicker relief and let me focus on rebuilding my life and strengthening my relationship with my kids. On the other hand, taking this fight all the way could set a precedent. It's about more than just me, it's about showing that lies and betrayal have real consequences. For now, I'm taking it one step at a time. I'm leaning on my lawyer's advice and the support of the people who've stood by me. No matter what happens next, I finally feel like I'm starting to take back control of my life. After years of feeling powerless, that's a victory in itself. Update 3. After a lot of thought and talks with my lawyer, I've decided to turn down the settlement offer. It wasn't an easy choice, but here's why I made it. First, the settlement comes with an NDA, which would stop me from warning others about the dangers of false testimony in divorce cases. I can't agree to sweeping everything under the rug after everything I've been through. Second, the settlement doesn't come close to covering the full damage my family caused. It feels more like a way for them to save face, not a real attempt to make things right. But the biggest reason I rejected it is because my kids deserve to see that standing up for what's right matters. I want them to know that integrity and accountability are non-negotiable, even if it's hard. Today was our first court date for the civil suit, and it was intense. My family's lawyer tried to argue that they were also victims of manipulation, like they should be excused because they meant well. Thankfully, the judge didn't buy it. He pointed out that adults are responsible for their own choices, and that just because they had good intentions doesn't excuse perjury. Hearing that in court felt validating. For years, I've been made to feel like I'm the one overreacting, so having a neutral party acknowledge what happened really helped. James was key again today. He shared more about how my ex would brag about manipulating my family, calling them easy targets because of their protective instincts, and my sisters need to be the family hero. His testimony painted a clear picture of how calculated her actions were, leaving no room for my family to claim they were innocent victims. He also shared new evidence, and now some women from the same therapy group are coming forward. They've talked about how my ex coached them on ways to exaggerate their divorce settlements, including making up abuse stories. The district attorney is now looking into possible perjury charges against both my ex and my sister. It's a bittersweet feeling. It's good to see them facing consequences, but it's hard to accept that it had to get this far. The kids are doing better with therapy, though it's clear they're still processing a lot. My daughter surprised me the other day by asking if she could speak at the custody hearing next month. She wants the judge to know how much she loves spending time with me and how safe she feels at my house. Her words broke my heart in the best way. It's not fair that she has to stand up for herself like that, but it also shows her strength. My son, though quieter, has been asking more questions about the court process, and I've been trying to answer as honestly as I can, without overwhelming him. My ex, of course, is sticking to her story. She's trying to spin it that I'm just doing all of this out of revenge. She even filed a motion to delay the custody hearing, saying the stress of the civil suit is affecting her ability to focus on the kids. Thankfully, the judge denied it, saying that with all the new evidence, it's important to move forward and reassess custody. Meanwhile, my family is still trying to do damage control. My parents have been calling extended family members, trying to make me out to be the one tearing the family apart. I've gotten a ton of calls and messages from aunts, uncles, and cousins, all telling me I should be the bigger person and think about the family. It's maddening. Where was this concern when they were all testifying against me, siding with my ex? It's like they can't even see their own hypocrisy. I'm done trying to explain myself to people who refuse to see the truth. One of the most unexpected things that's happened is the reaction at my sister's workplace. Word has started to spread about her involvement in the case, and it's causing a stir at her school. Some parents are even questioning if someone who lied under oath should be trusted with their kids. As much as I don't want to harm anyone's career, it's hard to feel bad when her actions have caused so much damage to me and my kids. If this makes her realize the consequences of her choices, then maybe it's for the best. The community seems to be changing, too. More neighbors and people I haven't heard from in years have started reaching out, apologizing for believing the worst about me. Some have even offered to write character references for the custody hearing. I appreciate it, but it's hard not to feel a little bitter. Where was this support when I really needed it? Still, I'm trying to stay focused on the positive and use their backing to strengthen my case. Through all of this, I'm doing my best to show my kids resilience and integrity. I've been talking to them about standing up for what's right, even when it's tough. I've also been teaching them that forgiveness is important, but that doesn't mean letting people off the hook. My daughter's decision to speak at the hearing is proof of her courage, and I'm so proud of her for wanting to be heard. I know some people think I'm being too harsh by pushing legal action and turning down the settlement, but this isn't about revenge. It's about justice. It's about making sure the truth comes out and that no one else has to go through what I have. Family ties don't mean you get to destroy someone's life, and it's about time my family learned that. I'll update again after the custody hearing. Thanks again to everyone who's been supporting me. Your encouragement has given me the strength to keep fighting for what's right. Update 4. It's been a while since I last posted, and I wanted to share the good news. After a long and exhausting battle, the judge ruled in my favor. I've been granted primary custody of my kids. My ex still has visitation rights, but they remain supervised for now, given the evidence presented during the hearings. It's a massive relief to know that my kids will have stability and a safe environment to grow up in. What helped the most was that my daughter spoke bravely about how much she loves being with me and how she feels safe and supported at my home. My son, though quieter, shared with his therapist, who then provided input to the court about how much progress he's made while living in a calmer, more structured environment. The judge acknowledged all of this when making the decision, and it felt like a validation of everything I've fought for these past few years. I can't say this journey has been easy, but the weight I've carried for so long feels lighter now. My kids are laughing more, opening up more, and settling into the peace they deserve. For the first time in years, I feel like I can breathe and look forward to the future. To everyone who's supported me, thank you, one last time. Whether it was a kind comment, advice, or just following along, it meant the world to know I wasn't alone.